Get ready to, well, get ready to be swept away, really.
Yeah.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into a painting that's full of drama and mystery, maybe even a touch of magic.
Ah.
We're looking at John William Waterhouse's Boreas.
Yeah, a fitting description, I'd say. When you consider this masterpiece was actually, well, it vanished for almost a century, before it kind of reemerged. And when it did, it made waves, big waves in the art world.
It really does feel like, art imitating life, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so imagine this. A young woman flowing blue and slate-colored clothing. She's walking through this landscape that's like bursting with springtime. Can you practically feel the wind whipping around her? That's Boreas. But before we get too far, let's talk about Waterhouse himself for a second.
Right, of course.
I mean, he was drawn to, like other pre-Raphaelites, he was drawn to powerful women from mythology, But with Boreas, I feel like he takes it a step further. I don't know. He doesn't just show us her beauty, right? He captures her strength, like her strength in the face of this overwhelming force.
And he achieves it so masterfully.
Yeah.
Think about it. It's the late 19th century, and you've got this group of artists, the pre-Raphaelites, and they were obsessed with these really intense colors, romantic themes, and like just bringing these almost mythical scenes to life on canvas, lush landscapes, flowing hair, dramatic narratives. That was John William Waterhouse's world.
Boreas fits right in, doesn't it? Even the title itself, it just evokes drama. And speaking of drama, for those of us who maybe slept through mythology class, who is Boreas exactly?
Well, in Greek mythology, he's the North Wind. He's the North Wind personified. And he wasn't, like a gentle spring breeze or anything. No, he was a powerful force of nature. He's often depicted as this, strong, bearded figure who could, like, unleash these icy blasts and whip up storms, like, with just a breath.
So we're not talking about a light breeze here. This is a force to be reckoned with.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And that's what I think that's what adds such a fascinating layer to this painting. You have this young woman, and she's literally walking right into the wind, like almost challenging it. It's those subtle details. Those are the things that elevate this painting from, I don't know, just depicting a windy day to something more. It becomes more symbolic, more emotionally charged.
It's almost as if, I don't know, like Waterhouse saw in Boreas, a reflection of the creative process, like that tension between destruction and creation. I think that's what makes him such a compelling figure.
You've hit on something there. It's interesting. There was a description from the 1904 Royal Academy notes, and it actually called out the windblown draperies and the way the girl, she seems to stand apart from the landscape. Like it's like she's not just being blown around, she's choosing to move through the wind.
That description from 1904 makes the whole disappearing act even more baffling. Here you have this critically acclaimed painting. It's like capturing everyone's attention, this powerful imagery, and then poof, it's gone. Like gone for nearly a century. Seriously, where do you even hide a painting that big for 90 years?
Right.
Behind a secret bookcase? Did someone win it in a poker game? The possibilities are endless.
Right. I know. And to think it was painted in 1903, disappears, and then boom, resurfaces in the mid-1990s. It makes you wonder, where could it have been hiding all that time, and what other secrets might it hold? And it's not just the reappearance. When it resurfaced, it sold at auction for over £800,000. Clearly, the art world was just as captivated by Boreas as we are.
There's something about these lost and rediscovered masterpieces, isn't there? It's like this air of mystery just draws you in. But I think Boreas is more than just a missing painting, don't you? It's about the story it tells.
Yeah.
It really is. And, you're right. There's a depth to this piece that goes way beyond just, the mystery of it disappearing. It's that Waterhouse with the way he kind of weaves together these mythological and these visual elements. That's what makes his work so captivating.
That's it. It's like he takes these ancient stories, these primal forces, these forces of nature, and he brings them to life on canvas. And it's not just about passively observing a scene either. He pulls you in, makes you feel that wind, like, on your own face, makes you really contemplate your own relationship to these forces,
And that actually, it makes me think about, because one of the things that really struck me about this painting is, the way Waterhouse, he uses color, he uses movement to create that feeling, that immersive experience. Like, for example, did you notice how her dress, the girl's blue dress, it almost blends into the sky, like she's part of the wind?
Oh, absolutely. And then you've got these like flashes of white in the dress too, almost like gusts of wind, and it adds to that sense of movement, that drama. Waterhouse, he was a master of using color and light to evoke emotion and just create a sense of atmosphere.
It really does. He
Yeah.
really does transport you to that windswept landscape. You can almost feel the chill in the air, hear the rustle of fabric. And speaking of details, did you know Waterhouse actually painted like multiple versions of Boreas?
He did. He did. He was known to revisit certain themes, motifs throughout his careers. Like he was exploring different facets of a myth or a story. And in some versions of Boreas, the landscape it's more prominent. Like he's really emphasizing the vastness of nature. And in others, the focus is more on the girl herself, her expression, even her body language. It's interesting.
Like each version offers, I don't know, like a slightly different perspective. But it's the same story, just adding these layers of complexity to his exploration of the myth, which makes me wonder, what do you think like drew him to Boreas in the first place? Why this myth?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a question worth considering. Maybe it was, the sheer power of Boreas that fascinated him. You have to remember the pre-Raphaelites, they loved dramatic narratives. And what's more dramatic than, a force of nature that can shape landscapes, that can influence seasons, even topple empires, I mean.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
He's almost like a force of nature himself in a way, right?
Right.
Reshaping the art world with his bold style and his dramatic compositions. But there's another layer to Boreas that I find really, really interesting, is that he wasn't just this destructive force, right? He was associated with the arrival of spring, like the awakening of nature after winter.
That's right. And those flowers in the painting, they're not just pretty details. I mean, they highlight the paradoxical nature of Boreas himself, because he's this force of destruction. But out of that destruction comes new life. And it's symbolized by, those delicate blooms, pushing through.
And that duality, it's reflected in the painting itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got the wind, and it's whipping around, threatening to consume everything in its path. But then you notice those delicate spring flowers right there in the foreground, almost like a symbol of resilience. It's like a powerful reminder, even in the face of this overwhelming force, there's always hope, always that promise of renewal.
It really is. And it's that, I don't know, that ability to find beauty, to find beauty in those unexpected places. That's what makes Waterhouse's work so enduring. He doesn't shy away from those darker aspects, the darker aspects of nature, those destructive forces. Instead, he embraces them. He shows us how they're all intertwined with creation, with resilience, with the whole cycle of life, really.
And he does it. And he does it all through these incredibly powerful female figures. Think about it. He could have chosen to depict Boreas himself,
Right.
like this imposing male figure. But instead, he focuses on the woman. He's capturing her strength, her resilience. And it's, in the face of this overwhelming force, it's almost like he's saying, true strength, it doesn't lie in dominating nature. It's more about, I don't know, harmonizing with it, finding ways to weather the storms and come out stronger on the other side.
Yeah, I like that. That's a beautiful observation, and it speaks to the that timelessness of his work. Even though, I mean, he was painting in the late 19th century, his themes like resilience, transformation, that power of the feminine, they still resonate even today.
They do. They absolutely do. And I think the fact that, that Boreas was lost for so long and then, rediscovered, it just adds to its power. It's like he was hidden away, just waiting for the right moment to reemerge and remind us of these timeless truths.
It's almost as if like the painting itself embodies that theme, that theme of resilience, lost but not forgotten, resurfacing at a time when, that a message of hope and renewal. And I think, well, it's more relevant than ever.
As we've been talking about Boreas, I keep thinking about something you said earlier about how each interaction with a piece of art, it adds another layer to its story. And it makes me wonder, what will future generations see in this painting? What new meanings will they uncover?
It's a fascinating question, and I think it speaks to that enduring power of art. Its power to transcend time, to connect with us on this really, really personal level. And Waterhouse's Boreas, it's more than just a beautiful painting, right? It's a conversation starter, a source of inspiration is this timeless reminder, a reminder of our own resilience, when we're faced with life's storms. And that's something, I think that's something worth reflecting on.
It absolutely is. So to our listeners, the next time you find yourselves caught in a whirlwind, I don't know, just remember Boreas. Remember that young woman. She faced the wind, and she faced it with courage. She faced it with grace. Let her be a reminder that, even in the middle of all the chaos, there's always beauty. You just have to find it. There's always hope. You just have to hold on to it. Until next time.